we need a plan. If we're going to have self-control, it's not just going to happen. It isn't just laying in a hammock, sipping a lemonade and praying to God, God, please give me self-control. I'm going to take a nap, and in 20 minutes, I expect to have self-control. It's not going to happen that way, okay? We have to have a plan. We have to work at it. But the good news is we're not alone in this. In chapter 5 of Galatians, verses 22 to 23, very familiar verse to many of us, and he says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and what's last one? Self-control. There it is. The fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit of God is self-control. And so here is the good news. God can produce self-control in us. God will produce self-control in us. But it's only if we cooperate, right? Remember what we just found out in 1 Corinthians chapter 9. We have to have a plan. God will do His part, but we have to do our part. And so if we were to sum up these verses in terms of self-control and in terms of our money, I would phrase it like this. God will produce self-control if we let Him. God will produce self-control in us if we let Him. God wants to do it. He will do it. He can do it. He's so eager to do it, but He's not going to do it if I'm not going to cooperate with Him. But this is a partnership, and this is so cool. And so if we were to put together these two things, God wants us and will produce self-control in us, and then if we look at our role in self-control, we have to have a plan. We put it all together, and we come up with our bottom line for today. Our bottom line is God plus a plan equals self-control. God plus a plan equals self-control. So divine help for us. We are not in this alone, but we must have a plan. And if you put those two things together, God's divine power, His supernatural power, and our desire to cooperate, we are seriously cooperating here. Again, we have a plan. We must be disciplined. We must be focused. Otherwise, the next time we see the doggy in the window, we're going to buy that stupid doggy. And your spouse is going to get tired of you bringing home all those dogs. Or maybe it's the shoes. You have too many shoes already. If you want to be able to resist those temptations, we have to get a handle on self-control. So, here is our plan, okay? And this is just my suggestion, okay? You can either accept it or reject it, but I think that it can be practical. God will bail us out. We can get through this recession. God will straighten out our personal finances, but we have to remember that we have to have a plan. And so the number one thing I would suggest that we do is to make a list of needs versus wants. Needs versus wants. Get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle piece of paper at the top on the left, put needs on the top, on the right-hand side, put wants, and just sit down and start listing things. Now, most of us under needs, most of us needs are going to be, food, water, clothing, roof over our heads, right? Those are our needs. Now, your needs may be different than mine. Perhaps some of us have to pay rent, some of us pay mortgages, and so there's a difference there. But those would be typical kinds of needs. And then under the wants, could be things like maybe it is the doggy in the window, maybe it is the big screen TV, maybe it's an iPod. Who knows what it is? PS3, PS4 comes out in 2010. Make that list. And this is a terrific exercise to get you thinking. Needs versus wants, okay? And then the next step, the next thing on your to-do list, and this is more painful, make a budget. Make a budget. Create a budget. The first question that everybody needs to be able to answer is, how much money, in terms of income, do I get in a year? If you don't know how much money you bring in from whatever sources you have, if you don't know that, you are cooked right off the bat. your personal finances probably are a mess, because if you don't even know how much money is coming in, well, that's a fundamental flaw in your budget, because you don't have a budget. You also need to know how much money is leaving the house. Figure that out. And obviously, as you do this, I mean, it's painfully obvious, but you figure out, okay, this is how much I'm bringing in, and this is how much is going out. Yeah, I'm spending more than I earn, than I make. And right there, you may find out the fundamental problem in your finances. You're spending more money than you have. And so you need to make that budget, figure it out. And it doesn't have to be really complicated. Yeah, if you want to buy software like Quicken, that is terrific for making a budget. But you know what? You can just get a piece of paper and start writing down. Here's how much I pay for gas, for electric, for trash. Just write it down. It doesn't have to be complicated. The next thing I would suggest on your to-do list, this is your plan now, is to save on a regular basis. And for some of us, this is a foreign word. I've never heard this word before. Save, yeah. To save money. And so, if you are younger than me anyway, and you're planning to retire at some point, you need to plan for that retirement. Because if you don't plan for it, when you get older, then you won't have anything to live on. You need to plan right now to plan for retirement. And you also need to just set aside money on a regular basis. You need a nest egg. I mean, you really do, because remember, which is exercise? Other people who have been laid off or their hours cut, something bad either has happened or may happen down the road, and you need extra money in your savings account so that you can make it through those difficult times. So, and remember the first thing we did, the needs versus the wants. Well, if there's something on your want list that you have to have, maybe it is the new cell phone. Oh man, the new iPhone. Gotta have that puppy. Okay. Who am I to say that it's not something that you should have? So if you really want it, then set money aside on a regular basis, and when you have enough money, then buy it. Okay? The fourth thing that leads naturally from the savings one, and you do this one most common, is to avoid credit cards. Avoid credit cards. I tell you what, I am personally convinced that credit cards almost single-handedly is the thing that has gotten us messed up in terms of our personal finances, because we think that it's okay to spend money that I don't have on things that I don't need. I just put it on credit. I'll pay for that in the future. I mean, there's all kinds of problems with that. And we will talk about being in debt next week. We'll talk about credit cards and all that. But just avoid the credit card. I just really can't stress that enough. Pay cash, check, debit card, whatever. Number 5. I like this one. Is make a list of your temptations and then avoid them. Make a list of your temptations and avoid them. I mean, as an analogy, let's say I can't resist a puppy, and I've got 12 of them at home. I mean, I'm being stupid here. I mean, if I'm going to, avoid bringing home another puppy, well, I need to recognize that is a weakness. I need to write it down, and I need to avoid places where puppies are going to be. And so, if a cute puppy